pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The minutes have been distributed. Does anybody have any changes to our minutes as they've been distributed? If not, may I have a motion to adopt the minutes as distributed?
I'll move it. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. So the next item is a public hearing to establish the residency requirements for appointed office of the comptroller. Local law number 2 of the year 2021 to establish the residency requirements for the appointed office of town comptroller. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll move that. I'll second it.
Okay. Is there anyone wishing to make a comment regarding the proposed local law? Yes, sir.
Gene Densmore, 7493 Highland Drive, Baldwinsville. I just want to let you know that I oppose that idea. I believe that a resident would have more reason to protect my money than a non-resident, okay? And most places we've had that law since our present comptroller came in. Not that we didn't trust it, but he lived here, so we stole him from McLean, if I remember right. And he was a good comptroller. It's a good deal. Okay, the fact that you have not yet found anyone of his caliber, I don't say that there's nobody in Lysander as qualified. I'm sure you'll find one eventually, but I don't think it's as much of an emergency that you need to change the law and go out of town. I think you should keep looking and find another way to cover until you find that person. That's just my opinion. The quick and easy way is to change the law and go out of town. And I understand that, but I don't think it's that urgent a matter that you can't keep looking until you find that person you need. Okay, and you should also know that before this good comptroller came to us, the town clerk did all the work. So it was just a bookkeeping job, considered just a bookkeeping job at the time. And I think that's probably why they pinched pennies and didn't want to pay him much in the beginning. It took a long time to get the salary up where it belonged. Am I talking out of the realm of truth? Isn't that what happened? And eventually he got the salary up, but I think you should look further before you change the law. Just my opinion. Thank you.
Is there anybody else wishing to speak on this issue?
Kevin Rowe, 1405 Greenmore Way. I know you gave a brief explanation at the last board meeting or work session on why the board's deciding to make the change. Is the board willing to explain to the public why they want to make the change at the public hearing?
Sure.
So people have an understanding?
Yeah.
Okay.
We planned on it.
Okay, well, it's hard for the public to ask questions when the board doesn't explain why they want to change a law.
Well, I think I explained it in the last meeting, but I'll do that again if you're, I was looking to see what the comments were from the public first, but yeah, I'll explain it. Mr. Rowley and I, we put out a looking for resumes, and we put it on a number of sites, and you can explain that, Mr. Rowley. What
Yeah,
the-
we, obviously, we put it on Indeed.com.
Yeah.
We posted it on the New York State Department of Labor's website. We obviously advertised in the Messenger. We advertised in the Syracuse Post-Standard, or whatever it's called these days. It was on Syracuse.com. So it was in various locations.
GFOA as well?
Oh yeah, we advertised it through
GFOA.
GFOA, which is New York State Government Finance Officers Association. So it was in their publication, it was on their website. So many eyes with people with municipal finance experience obviously saw the ad.
So we did that, and we received approximately 30?
Yeah,
would you
I'd say 30.
Approximately 30 applications and, or resumes, I'm sorry. And there were some good resumes in there, some very good resumes. And we looked out through them, but when we looked through them, there was nobody that was meeting the criteria that, and I was deferring to Mr. Rowley on this. I mean, I looked at the resumes as well, but I was looking to get his assistance because he's the one that knows what the comptroller needs. So he and I, both reviewing them, we came up with, when we looked through them, we had essentially the same people. We probably came up with about 10 or 11 that, and he might have had two different ones, and I might have had two different ones, but essentially, he and I came up with the same personnel. Out of that, we decided on an individual, and this individual's here tonight, and I might as well introduce her. Her name is Therese Pierce, and she's with Mr. Rowley right now. And Ms. Pierce has her resume is just a glowing resume. And when Mr. Rowley and I interviewed her, Mr. Rowley thought I was going to offer the job right then and there. I mean, because both he and I had the same opinion that Ms. Pierce is a perfect fit with what we need to do. Perfect. She has all the credentials. Her resume was glowing. Her background was glowing. She had everything that we needed to do. Now, in saying that, I talked to other supervisors around the county. When I told them that Mr. Rowley was retiring, every one of them, to the person, said, "Oh, you're going to have a hard time finding a comptroller. It's very difficult out there. You're going to pay this. You're going to do that. It's not easy to find somebody." Well, let me tell you something. I think, in my opinion, to use a baseball analogy, we hit a home run on the first pitch with Ms. Pierce. That's the way. That's how confident I am in her ability and her the way that I feel that she's going to fit in here. And I'll let you, explain yourself, Mr. Rowley. What do you think?
Well, I mean, obviously, we both came to the same conclusion, and when I checked out Therese, when I checked out her references, the people that I spoke with just had glowing things to say about her performance, her professionalism, and her ability. So I think she'll be a good fit for the town.
That's how we came to that conclusion.
Okay. And that's fine. I just know that over the last 8 years, 10, we've gone from having a full-time comptroller to part-time comptroller. And my next question is, because I see we've already hired the person. And
Well, she's right here. I mean,
well, I
yeah.
understand, but
Yeah.
I'll get to that in the public comment for the agenda. But is this a full-time position, part-time position?
It's the same hours and days that Mr. Rowley's working with essentially the same salary.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
And why we are going to appoint her to being the bookkeeper to the supervisor. We knew when we put this budget together, with last year's budget, we knew we were going to have to hire a comptroller. We didn't know how much we were going to have to spend. We got lucky that the lady that we're picking for the position was willing to work part-time. I think we only had 3 people that even were willing to work part-time, and one of them wanted to work nights, which wasn't going to work with us. The rest of them were going to be full-time personnel. Well, if we were going to do a full-time comptroller, we were looking into sharing that comptroller with the town of Van Buren. That wasn't going to work out as well as having our own comptroller, just wasn't. But the fact that we found somebody willing to work the hours that Mr. Raleigh's working, again, like I said, it's like hitting a home run on the first pitch. It works out perfectly. And her credentials are outstanding. She's been a comptroller, she's got all the experience that she needs. The only difference is that she hasn't had municipal experience, which that's common for most of these positions. But that's why right now we're going to put her on as the bookkeeper while Mr. Raleigh's still here. Mr. Raleigh's going through and he is going to train her on the nuances of municipal accounting. And then he's going to stay on our payroll. They are going to switch positions. Once he decides to retire, they're going to switch positions. He will become the bookkeeper and Ms. Pierce will become the comptroller, because we want to give her as much assistance and as much help as we can to make sure that she is successful in this position. And that includes training. So what we are doing now is she's been in this week, she's being trained this week, probably through the rest of the month. There's a couple of end-of-year reporting that we have to send into the comptroller that Mr. Raleigh's going to go through with Ms. Pierce, and then he's going to come back at budget time to work with the budget the first time through. And he'll also be available by telephone, because we want all of our employees to be successful, and this is the way we think that it's the way to do that. Now, that $40,000 number, that's in there because that's what her salary is, but that's not what we were going to pay out. We've already budgeted for that amount of money for a bookkeeper, or we budgeted less for a bookkeeper and for a comptroller.
Okay. My other question is the town of Lysander different than other towns to have the, residency requirement for comptroller? I didn't read up on town law to.
I don't think Van Buren's comptroller is a resident of Van Buren.
No, but they had passed a local law that you didn't need to be a resident.
Yeah,
They did
that's
that
not
years ago.
uncommon. I mean, in order to find the type of personnel that you need, we need to find, if we could find somebody in our town that met our needs, we would have hired that person. We tried to do that. It wasn't possible. It wasn't possible to do that. That's why we had to pass this local law. So there are some positions that you just can't do it. You just cannot do it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? No. Okay. May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll move it. I'll second it.
Okay. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Public hearing is closed at 7:14. Okay. Moving on to citizens' comments. Any citizen wishing to make a comment tonight?
Kevin Road again. My first question, I see that we're doing the video program. We started that a couple of years ago. Motion B. Do we have any
We're
idea?
taking that off. That's
Oh.
coming off. We are not moving forward with that. I got several calls. I wasn't involved in the original contract with them, but I received several calls, numerous calls from the community, from businesses in the community stating all the problems that they had with this organization. So because of that, we're going to omit that. We're not going to re-up this contract with them again.
Okay. The other question I only have, and I just see that, sometimes we have to hire people before we have board meetings. I just see the motions made here. You had the public hearing, and motion F is to hire, a bookkeeper and we understand what the town board's gonna do, moving the comptroller. I just wish our town wouldn't make motions or hire people until after they're already voted upon. You know, this like prorating, hiring people without it being an emergency. You know, it feels to me that the taxpayers should know, town board approved them, they start work the next week. I mean, unless there's some kind of emergency and we need additional employees or personnel. That's just personal preference. Voting after the fact, like tonight, or whenever you do vote on the public hearing, what if 3 board members don't vote to change the law? We've already hired a person. We've already promised a job to somebody.
Well, then she'll be the bookkeeper to the supervisor and you won't have a
Yeah,
comptroller.
she just stays where she is.
Okay, so we don't need a comptroller in the town of Lysander. You don't need a
Well,
comptroller?
that's what would happen.
Okay. Right, but
Either
then that
you're
could
fine
create another budget issue of,
Or you're fine.
we didn't budget for it. So, that's all. Thank you.
Well, but some people's, what some people consider an emergency and other people consider an emergency, there's a difference. I personally think this is an emergency. Mr. Raleigh is going to be retiring. We have a $6.3 million budget,
Yeah.
or we have a $6.3 million budget, which I am not qualified to take over today. So to have a qualified comptroller in that position and is an emergency in my opinion. And we need to get that person up to speed and trained as soon as we can. Normally, I agree with you. If we are going to hire somebody, we want to hire them, you know, we want to make the motions and go through and hire them first. But in this instance, this was one of those things where the supervisor can hire a bookkeeper. That's in the budget, so that's what I did. That's already allowed, it's already budgeted. So the comptroller position is an important position for us to have, and we wanted to bring Ms. Pearson and give her as much exposure to Mr. Raleigh as we could. That to me is an emergency situation because we want to make sure that the taxpayers' money is kept. Somebody is overseeing that money that's as qualified as we can get. And she's a CPA as well as being a comptroller in the past, so she's more qualified than I am in that situation. So we wanted to get her in there. So to me, it is an emergency. That's why we did what we did.
What did we budget for the bookkeeper for 2021?
It was 13.5, I believe.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Supervisor's comments. I did have something. I think it was, I wanted to talk about our, pardon me? Oh. I wanted to talk about our new comptroller, and I think we had, or our future comptroller, our new bookkeeper, Ms. Pierce, but again, her resume is just glowing, and her experience, her education is just really, really impressive. And I think we're lucky to have her, and I'm glad she came tonight. So, thank you. Other than that, that's all I have. Town board comments. Start with you tonight. Mr. Kudarowskis.
I just want to thank everyone for coming. Kind of woke up to a nice April Fool's joke by Mother Nature today with all the snow on the ground. Good thing Jerry didn't have to salt the roads today, which I'm thankful for. Other than that, I'll stick to the agenda.
You know, I'll take this opportunity, I don't often do this, but I read an article this morning that discouraged me or dismayed me, and it talked about the fact that over the last couple of generations, small town America has kind of disappeared and been replaced by communities that you can't really tell apart anymore. These big box store communities, you drive through one, it's just like driving through the mall. And you know, I got to thinking about our town. We all say we come from Baldwinsville, you know, whether you live in Lysander, the village of Baldwinsville, or the town of Van Buren. And you know what? We've got it. We still have that small town feel. And you know, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that that doesn't get lost. And we have something remarkable. And one of the things that was really discouraging for all of us was, and we're still going through it, is this crazy COVID thing, which you know, tore the country apart, still is. And in some ways, it kept us from experiencing our small town. I'm not criticizing the board, but for example, we had to close this, we didn't open the spray park last year. I hope to dear God we can open it this year. I'm sensing we will. Things seem to be easing up. I couldn't go to church for months. This mask thing, we had to do it, we still have to do it. It was kind of funny in a kind of a sick way, but we went out to the canal, what do they call themselves? It's the Canal Walk Cafe, or the one on the bridge. I love that place. So we go in there after church on Sunday for breakfast, and they sit us down. And the minute you sit down, you can take your mask off. And the funny thing was, the people that were waiting to be seated, which were here, they had to wear their mask while they were standing up. And you know, you have to do it, I guess. But that took so much away from experiencing what we have here in terms of neighbors saying hello to neighbors. And I'll end this by saying the one thing, and this may come as a surprise to all of you, is that really upset me last year, and I hope we get to do it this year. We eliminated the one thing that was part of Old Town America, Small Town America. You know what that was? The Memorial Day Parade and the ceremony at the cemetery. I hope we do that again. That's where your friends and neighbors are standing on the side of the road, they're on the sidewalk, they're cheering you. You know, people are walking in the parade that, you know, there's Bob Wicks, there's Pete Moore, there's the fire truck going down the thing. That parade is what Small Town America is all about. We've got something incredibly special. I'm not so sure the other 19 towns in Onondaga, 18 towns in Onondaga County do anything like what we still do here. So I just wanted to celebrate that. Hope we get to enjoy our small town forever. Thanks.
Mr. Moore?
Yeah, so I'll add just a little bit to what Bob was saying. I'm looking very forward. We're starting to loosen restrictions, or the science is changing, whatever's going on here, whether you have to sit or stand and wear a mask, whatever it is, we're starting to loosen restrictions a little bit. And it feels very good that that is happening. I look very forward to the time when we can go out and actually be normal again and walk without a mask and shake somebody's hand and see our neighbors and our community members. I look very forward to that, and I do believe it's you know, I don't know when it's coming, but we're taking steps that way, so that is good. Other than that, I would like to say spring is also coming. You might not have known it from the weather report yesterday, but when I woke up, I did not see a foot of snow out there like the people were telling us we were going to have. So I know spring is here. Hope everybody enjoys the weather as it comes in a little bit warmer. And thank you everybody for coming out and for watching on PAC.
Okay, thanks. Department head reports. Ms. Falcone.
Yes, we need to add a motion to adopt the local law. So if I do the wording for that, can we add it on? Okay.
Sure.
Want to make that the first motion then, or the last one?
Last one. We'll make it aye.
Okay, so when we get there, I will read it and then you can make the motion if you
Sure.
want.
Sure.
Other than that, I have nothing else. Thank you.
Mr. Hall?
Well, we're hoping spring is sprung. We're all geared up, ready to start working on the roads. Please be patient with us. We've got a lot of work to do. And we'll interrupt traffic quite a bit this year.
When are we looking to do Mott Road? Or, I'm sorry.
Connell Terrace?
Connell Terrace, yes.
Everybody's waiting on that one, including me. As soon as we finish the plans, get the survey complete. I think we're looking at like June to start. Yeah. It takes some time to get everything laid out with all the mechanicals that are underground. That's what stops us from getting a lot of work going, so. Yeah, I think June, We might be able to put a shovel in the ground up there and start putting in the drainage, and then it goes fast after that, so. The people will more than likely be quite thankful, since that's an original road, I guess.
I think they will be. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Rozicka?
No.
Okay. Move on.
I don't have anything, thank you.
Oh, you know what? I always miss somebody in scanning through. She threw me off. Our town clerk threw me off by being over there.
You know, just try and mix it up a little bit,
Yeah.
that's all.
You don't have anything?
No, thank
You
you.
sure?
Yep.
All right. I'm sorry I missed it.
That's all right.
You had the mask on, I didn't recognize it. All right. We'll move on to the regular agenda items. As I said earlier, item B is being omitted. So may I have a motion to adopt the amendment to the Town of Lysander Health Reimbursement Account Plan effective January 1, 2021?
I'll move it. I'll second it.
And that is because of recent changes in the law. We had to make some changes in what we provide to our employees. That was mandated by state law. So, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. A motion to declare the computers and equipment surplus and to be disposed of through the electronic recycling program.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Phones as well too?
You're on.
We did
You're
that
going.
already.
Okay.
You did the phones already. Did the phones at the last one.
Right. And for the people that are, don't have the agenda in front of them, these items have no value. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to appoint Amanda Riley to the position of clerk to the Town Justice Mangione, part-time at a maximum of 25 hours per week, effective April 5th, 2020, at an hourly rate of $16.75.
2021.
What did I say, 2020? I'm sorry.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? This Amanda Riley this came from Justice Mangione, so. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion to award the Chase Cemetery mowing and trimming RFP to Brightview Landscapes, DBA Proscapes, in the amount of $505 per mow and trim?
I'll move it. I'll second it.
Any discussion? How many bids did we get? 7?
We sent out 7 RFPs, we got 1 back, and that was the Brightview that we received back.
Yeah, and I think some of the comments were it was too hard to do or something like
Yeah,
that.
some people just
Yeah,
didn't even
so-
want to bid. And 2 people don't do lawns.
Right. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to appoint Therese Pierce on a part-time basis as bookkeeper to the supervisor effective March 30th, 2021 at a rate of pay in the amount of $40,000 per year prorated to December 31st, 2021.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to set the punch list security requirement for Timber Bank Section 3, Phase 4 subdivision at $31,000 per the engineer's letter dated March 31st, 2021.
I'll move it. I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. May I have a motion to set the required maintenance security guarantee at $70,856, 25% of the project value per the town engineer's value of improvements estimated and included in the letter dated March 31st, 2021.
I'll move it. I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Motion I.
To adopt a local law to establish the residency requirements for the appointed office of comptroller for the town of Lysander.
I'll move it.
Second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. All right. Do we have any new business from the board members tonight? No? Okay. So, may I have a motion to enter into an executive session to discuss the employment history of two particular individuals?
I'll move that.
Pete, sorry.
Sorry.
Pete and Jeff?
Sure.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll move into executive session at 7:31.